This podcast is brought to you by Rebecca Cassells of the Rising Dawn series. Do you like violence? Do you like smut? Are you tired of the stereotypical novels of werewolf romance out there and want something a little bit different? Then pick up Sparked Revolution, Book 1 in the Rising Dawn series by Rebecca Cassells. Available on Amazon, in Kindle and paperback. You too can become a sponsor of Stories The True and the Fictional by heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF or follow the link in the show notes.
The return of the Donald. A bustling McDonald's restaurant in a small town. The lunchtime rush is in full swing. Behind the counter, Donald Trump, wearing a McDonald's uniform and cap, is flipping burgers with a determined focus. Customers whisper and occasionally take photos. Enter Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, wearing a sharp suit. He approaches the counter.
Hola, Senor Trump. It's been a while.
Trump looks up, surprised.
Well, if it isn't Mr. Big Shot from El Salvador, what brings you to my golden hatches?
I need your help, por favor. The world needs your help.
Trump sighs and continues flipping burgers.
Those days are behind me. I've lost my touch.
I don't believe that for 1 second. The world is in chaos. Your leadership could make the difference.
Trump shakes his head.
Leadership? I'm just a guy making Big Macs now. The people chose someone else. Maybe they're better off.
Nayib leans in, lowering his voice.
I did not want to mention this, but your adversaries, they've been talking. They said your wife is a 6 out of 10.
Trump freezes. The restaurant seems to go silent. He slowly turns to Nayib.
What did you just say?
They called Melania a 6 out of 10.
Trump removes his cap, his eyes narrowing.
A 6. A 6? Melania is not a 6 out of 10. She's a 12. No, a 15 out of 10. She's the most beautiful, the most elegant first lady we have ever had. Maybe in the history of the world. These people, they have no taste, no class. They're jealous. That's what it is. Jealous of my success. Jealous of my incredible wife. You know, everyone tells me, sir, she's the most stunning woman we've ever seen. And they're right. These so-called critics, they're losers, total losers. They wouldn't know beauty if it stared them in the face. And trust me, beauty has stared them in the face. And they looked away because they couldn't handle it. It's a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. I have half a mind to show them what a real 10 out of 10 looks like.
Nayib smirks, seeing the fire reignited.
So, what are you gonna do about it?
Trump slams the spatula down.
I'm not gonna stand for this. It's time to set things right. They want to see action, I'll give them more action than they've ever seen. They think they can insult me and my family and get away with it? Wrong. Dead wrong. I'm coming back, bigger and better than ever before. And we're gonna make not just America, but the whole world great again.
He marches toward the back room. Nayib follows, satisfied grin on his face. In the back, a glass case hangs on the wall with a pristine suit and a red tie inside. The sign reads, "In case of presidency, break glass." Trump grabs a nearby chair and smashes the glass. Alarms sound briefly. He takes out the suit and tie, holding them up.
They thought I was finished. They thought I was out. Well, they're in for a big surprise. The biggest comeback you've ever seen. Huge.
He starts changing into the suit.
Welcome back, Mr. President.
Trump adjusts his red tie in the mirror, confident smirk on his face.
It's good to be back. Now let's go save the world.
They exit the back room together, Trump leading the way with renewed vigor. McDonald's staff and the customers watch in awe as he strides through the restaurant, the embodiment of determination. Fade out.
You did your You did your best, Jamie.
I'm probably.
You did your best.
These people probably won't hear
You
what I just did.
You did your best.
You know what would be easier?
Mhm.
Christopher Walken. Because they come from a similar place. I was looking up how to do Donald Trump impressions. And the first thing someone said was he's a little bit like Christopher Walken. And then all I could think of was Christopher Walken.
We have to find something with Christopher Walken because that's fantastic.
Why? It needs more cowbell. You know what that AI needed? More cowbell.
More cowbell. Okay, next time we'll find something with Christopher Walken just for
Why?
Jamie.
I've got a better. Christopher Walken, why don't you run for president? Hello and welcome to the Christopher Walken show. I'm sorry, I just took it in a whole other angle.
You certainly took that in a different direction.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because I just can't do Trump. It's just it took me like 5 years to be able to do Christopher Walken. Like, and even then, I don't think I'm good enough at Christopher Walken. You know,
It's a hard thing.
Yeah.
But by the time people hear this, you probably would have changed that to something else or edited the voice or done
Yes.
something. So then, like, they probably wouldn't even know
No.
what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? We're talking obviously about your podcast, Jamie, The True and All the Fictional. Is that the correct name of the podcast? Absolutely.
Stories, the true and the fictional. It's ever changing. We'll never know.
Like, I was going to make a joke, but then, you know what? No, I was going to make a really funny joke about a certain political party not changing and then losing, but I'm not going to make those. I'm gonna rise above the jokes because because one of us might get arrested in their country for making such jokes.
Soon, maybe all three of us.
Depending on where things land. And for two, I think I've kept my beliefs and opinions fairly well hidden from people. I don't think anyone knows that I think the government is stupid and a waste of time. And if
we've had a rant. A few times.
Look, a few times rant. Look, speaking of ranting, my name is Chris Parker. Welcome to the podcast. I'm of course joined by the man who not only did he publish a book. Not only did he create new covers for the book, he then wrote a glowing review of his book under a pseudonym pen name. J.A. Bryan. How you going, sir?
We've talked about this before. I'm going well, but I can write a book. I can write 70,000 words. I've recently discovered. But the thing I most struggle with is the back blurb. And when someone asks me to write a review on anything, I just can't. Like, give me lots of words and I can do it, but now summarize what you did. I just can't do it. So I did not write a review for myself. That's just lazy.
It's not lazy. It's called being practical.
Okay.
Look, I kind of believe now that every video game, media, half the things online when they first come out, 50 to, if not 90% of the reviews are bought and paid for. I kind of feel that's just standard.
I get messages all the time from, "Hey, I really like your book. Oh, it's great. Give me money and I'll review it."
Well, that seems legit.
And I'm like, no.
Seems legit.
What I do now is I go, if you want to review my book, you can have it for free. I'll give you a free ebook, but you got to review it. And that's worked pretty well.
Okay, no, look, see, that makes sense.
Free copies to anyone that wants to review it.
Jamie, I want to review your book.
Yeah.
And I'll put a glowing review and won't at all mention incest inside of that room at once, or if at all. Oh, maybe just a little bit, depending.
It's your review, and that'll make light of you, not me. So
I know, but then people will then buy your book and going, "Wait, where's the incest? I was promised incest." Like, Speaking of incest, we're of course joined by a man. I don't know why that
I
was-
beg your pardon.
If you incest,
Well, okay. In my defense, you are English, which means, like,
Yes, go on.
Chris is banking on the fact that you are so far away in another time zone.
I know.
Yeah. Now he doesn't know where to go with this.
I will simply drop a dime on you to my prime minister, and it will be cruise missiles.
Your country can't afford cruise missiles.
No, we've given all of those away already. Sorry.
Your country's warships have a sloped ramp because they can't afford the plane launch, the ship launches to launch the jets in the sky. That's because that's how poor your nation is. Your warships have a little slippery slide ramp because of how bad your navy is.
Wow.
Imagine that. Imagine if you told someone from like the British Empire one day America will have vastly superior naval vessels than you. Imagine telling someone riding their first-rate 101-gun ships of the line that the colony will one day outmatch you in naval power. Anyway,
I want to make a comment to defend my homeland, but I can't because it's true. It's true.
Don't worry, we're just as bad.
No. Okay, no, Jamie, you don't understand what I'm talking about.
I do.
You need to understand. It makes you understand. They need to go right now. Go online and look at pictures of the HMS Queen Elizabeth, one of their like flagship supercarriers, and you will see a little slippery dip on the front of the thing.
No, let's do it right now. What is it? The
HMS Queen Elizabeth.
Images.
And I want you then to do something for me. I want you then to compare that to the grandfather of all warships. I also want you to bring up an image of the USS Ronald Reagan. Oh.
All right. Okay. So
now, look at look how they launched their little plane. Do you see that? You see that on the front of the ship? A little a little.
That's kind of cool. I don't know.
You know why they have that?
To give them some lift.
Okay, go Google USS Ronald Reagan.
USS. One too many. Ronald Reagan. Images. Zoom in.
Where's that ramp? And that's this is an older version. This is an older version of the carrier. So I've actually picked one that was from the 1990s. Not even a modern, not even one of their more newer ones. Where's the
Well, Chris, what they do is if you look up here in the background, they kind of make it go ashore and then they take off.
Yeah.
But they've got
But let's look at the Mac Daddy of carriers. Let's look at the carrier that your girlfriend told you not to worry about. The USS Gerald R. Ford. Let's go to Gerald R. Ford. Let's go look at the carrier that your girlfriend said not to worry about. Oh, look at that bad boy. Wait, where's its little sloopy thing? It doesn't exist. You know why? Because they have technology that connects to the bottom of the plane and then throws it down at high speed velocities. That costs money. That costs technology. That's innovation. Oh, look at your little British vessel. Where's your innovation? Where's your little innovation now? You know who else has technology that has a little tiny up ramp? China and Russia. Right now, Britain's in the same naval technology class as China and Russia.
Will we not talk about Australia's one?
We suck. I get that. But we're not meant to be a world superpower.
Yeah. But no, well, you laugh, Chris, but we are still a part of the Commonwealth.
Oh yeah, we look. Look, having said that, look. How much does a supercarrier cost? A modern supercarrier, that's a $12 billion supercarrier. That is a thing that's nuclear powered, that can't be sunk. But essentially, if you want to topple nations, you need a supercarrier, a decent like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be caught dead toppling a nation with that little sloop on the top of on the little ramp on top of my carrier.
Okay, Neil's asking if your rant is over yet.
It is over now. I went on a little bit of a tangent there for a second.
A very passionate rant.
I just think it's I made a joke about incest, which I couldn't really back up, so I had to switch it to something else.
It's easy to kick a nation when they're down.
I know.
And right now we are down bad, and not in a good way.
Now, before I forget, there is something I want to show you, Chris. There's a new announcement on the front. There's something we talked about a while ago. Back to the Future new movie plans unveiled by original trilogy director Robert Zemeckis.
Well.
However,
nope,
it is not what you think. Because I thought this is his clickbait headline.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go right down to because it mentions all the stuff saying no, we're not doing a fourth one. The story's been closed, all that stuff. But if we go down,
Past all the ads.
Past all the ads, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is theexpress.co.uk.
Despite all this, it turns out Zemeckis is very keen to do a fourth Back to the Future movie, but it's not quite what you might imagine. The Oscar-winning director replied, "I would like to do Back to the Future, the musical, as a movie, just like Mel Brooks did, the producers, because there is a Back to the Future musical."
Okay, well, again, so how do we make this happen?
Well, he wants to do it. It probably will happen. From what I've heard, the musical is pretty successful. So,
okay. So what we do, casting-wise, to really make sure this succeeds, we have to make sure the casting is perfect, spot on.
Oh, okay.
So, first and foremost, Lorraine, Marty's mother, Rachel Zegler. I think that's the perfect one that would respect the franchise and not at all destroy it in an instant with her thoughts and comments. I think that's an absolute solid pick.
Well, what I'll do is I'll go back into Share again and look at the cast of the musical. People I don't know.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming they're actually. I know Roger Bart. I've seen him in things.
Yeah. Go away, click thing. Now he looks more because originally Back to the Future had a different actor than so this guy looks more like the guy they had originally.
Lorraine McFly, okay, that looks
She looks pretty close.
Pretty close.
Goldie Wilson, oh yeah, I loved Goldie Wilson. Mayor, I'm gonna run for mayor. Yeah. Who plays Biff? Oh, that right there. He looks a bit Biffy.
Yeah, Biffy. I didn't know. Are these other characters that were just made up for the music? Like, because you know how in Broadway they make up characters.
Well, there would be.
Yeah, it looks like these are sort of made up characters for the musical. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? You've convinced me. You've convinced me, Jamie, that Back to the Future should be a musical and.
Musical. Well, it's already a musical, but
I know, but we should see it on.
Well, I've always wanted them to do Hamilton the way they did Les Miserables.
Yeah, but then I don't want to give Lin-Manuel money anymore.
They don't want to give him more money.
No, I don't want to give him money. Like
you mean the most? Yeah, but you love that musical.
I know. Again.
Yeah.
Whilst I love it, I don't want to give him any more money.
He's reached peak money
because he's that musical. Yes, again, that's his magnum opus. That is his Citizen Kane. But then he keeps trying to try to topping it, and it keeps failing. Yeah. And it's like it's a little bit sad. It's like the guy who invented sliced bread. Like, what did he do after sliced bread?
Made it more thicker.
Did he go into an existential crisis and sit there and be like, going, "Oh my God, like Well, what am I going to do? And I'll use another example that two people on this podcast would understand. The creator of the manga Demon Slayer hasn't written another manga since, and they've actually mentioned it's due to existential dread that they don't know if they could top what they just did, and so they haven't written anything. And so it's like when you create that, like when you create your masterpiece, what do you do after that? You know?
I can respect that because there's plenty of good franchises where there is a very clear line of delineation where the director should have just stopped.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
And if they're thinking, "Do you know what? This was really good. It was well received. Anything I do now is just going to be crap." Then maybe now's the time to go and do something else. They're doing a movie of a musical of a film franchise. I'm happy to be proven wrong and find I really enjoy it. It gives me very strong Jurassic Park scientist vibes. Doing so much that they could. They didn't stop to think if they should.
Oh, I love that. But apparently there's also like an Avengers musical as well. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, well, because they showed
And there
part
was
of it.
there was a Spider-Man one, and I was like,
Yeah, no, well, the Spider one failed because Coldplay did the music for it.
That's
and
why it failed, obviously.
No,
That explains everything.
yeah,
That explains everything.
Look, I don't mind a bit of Coldplay. I pick them over Nickelback any day, but you know,
Really?
100%.
Over
Right.
Nickelback?
Yep. Sorry, I was just looking up the guy who invented sliced bread. And Chris, you're right. He's done nothing.
I told you. You've reached peak perfection. Where do you go from there?
Yeah.
The expression is literally the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
There is the standard. If he'd have done something better, the expression would be the best thing since whatever that thing
whatever
was.
that is. But
Yeah.
he is
But it's
again,
not.
he invented sliced bread, and then he would basically went back to his little thought bubble workshop think tank and went like, where do I go from here? Like honestly, Jamie, if you found an article saying the person who invented sliced bread then killed himself, I would
Yeah.
completely understand that. I'd be like going, well, yeah, like
No.
like how do you follow that up? Like
Well,
it's like you can't top that.
I prefer to think of it as he invents sliced bread, and while everyone is enjoying not having to hack away and make big door wedge sandwiches, he throws a hood up, pulls his cloak around him, and says, "My work here is done," and then turns around and walks off into the mist.
Ah, yes.
I think this guy's name is Otto. This is turning into a sliced bread podcast. Otto Frederick Rohwedder. He's linked to the toaster as well.
Whoa.
Okay, so not
Oh.
That makes sense.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, where are you going to
created
put
sliced
your
bread.
sliced bread? Yeah.
Actually-
Now, is there a patent document for this where they specify the depth of a piece of sliced bread? Because there's a similar argument to be had about
I can see where you're going with this.
the toilet roll holder,
Mhm.
and the fact that there is actually, according to the original patent document, a correct way to put toilet paper on a toilet paper holder.
You shut your mouth.
Well, there is only one way to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Look.
And
You know what?
which way
No.
would that be?
No. For the friendship, we are not going down this path.
Yeah, well,
No,
says Chris in his convenient rant at the start, which just pummeled not only Neil but his nation into the ground. Yeah, please don't punch back, Neil.
Yeah, no. Hey, I'm fighting like a Democrat. Well, no, I didn't. I said it. I said it.
And I will defend myself the way my country has been doing recently by just sitting there and taking it.
Rolling over and showing your belly like a dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jamie, on an unrelated note, Do you remember when a certain empire invaded another nation for tea?
Yes.
And their might was so superior, they basically then found an island and said, "We'll take this as well." Oh,
Yeah.
memories. Anyway,
The
unrelated.
the last thing on Otto, Fred. Okay, so he invented a slicing machine,
Yep. Ooh.
but it didn't only just slice the machine; it wrapped the bread. So he obviously went, yes, it can slice the bread, but what happens? Oh, what if we wrap? So kind of a second tier.
Okay. Speaking of that, and look, as you know, Jimmy, I do like the capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've had a shirt at one stage that said I part capitalism. But I do also miss products that last more than 10 seconds.
Oh, tell me about it.
And I'll give you an example. In my house, we've got in my old house where I grew up, there was a fridge inside, right? That had all the food.
I saw
There
it
was-
many times.
Yep. There was a fridge also in the garage, which they stored like drinks for parties and things of that nature. It was a fridge from the 60s or something. It was a steel fridge, and it kept things cold as absolute shit.
Yep.
It never broke down. I think it's still there running today.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had 3 or 4 to 5 different fridges inside the house being replaced
Mm-hmm.
but then like we never once thought, wait a minute,
We've got
why did we just take the outside one inside? I mean, never crossed our mind. Never crossed our mind at all 1 second.
Well, because they keep making smart fridges, and they're too intelligent to keep working.
Yeah, but then I was watching this video on YouTube of like a fridge and like this housewife was opening it and then showing all the drawers and compartments and things of this and like I was going like when did we become shit? When did we become when did we holy shit oh
No,
it's
well,
great.
it's because they're all about the money. Like it's just like the thing I think it was Tim Pool, was talking about how Apple had to give basically come clean on the fact that they were making people's iPhone batteries run 20% less after a certain amount of time intentionally, so they have to go and buy a new one. Instead of making a different phone that attracts people, they make the same phone.
Yep, see, that's why Samsung is superior.
All hail Samsung.
All hell Samsung, and
And to be fair, with regards to your fridge, in the event of an atomic weapon detonation,
oh, you're right.
you can get in that fridge, and you will roll out of it after the blast completely fine.
And I'll
Because
look
of all
like
that
Harrison
glorious
Ford.
lead.
Yep.
See?
Because that's true.
But it also comes down to cars as well. Like, I used to drive like old cars all the time before I got money, and then got new cars. But I've never had more you don't have trouble with the old cars because
They're built to last.
they just went. But that's why again, I had this one guy say to me like, oh, you shouldn't get like the Japanese and Korean cars. I was like, okay, why? He goes, oh, they're not built to last. So I'm like going, I'm pretty sure they're better standard than. He goes, oh, I get German cars. I'm like going, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And like his car is always in the shop because
Yep.
I'm like going like, I think someone's wrong about something.
I had a BMW. I had a BMW.
How often was it in the shop? How often?
A lot. I think I only had it for 3 years, and I was just like, I'm done with this thing because things just kept going wrong, and their parts are expensive.
Yep. And I can take my Hyundai down to the local anything and be like, I need this fixed. He goes,
Yeah.
cool. See you in a day.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Awesome. Drive off. Now, if you want good quality products at reasonable prices, buy Korean. I am, of course, no way biased in this decision of mine. Remember, when you buy Korean, you're supporting things that matter: freedom, democracy, hot K-pop idols, and of course, Cat's Eye, the westernized K-pop group. That's beside the point. You're supporting a nation that still knows what a game looks like and still knows. Actually, I'm not going to say the next line because that would be a little offensive, but I will say, actually, screw it. Knows what a woman looks like. Anyway.
I thought you were going to say
You'd also be supporting the judicial system of a country that decided, no, these annoying streamers that go and harass people. Screw it. We're going to arrest him.
Yes, that was the
Japan
best.
and China just sat there and took it. South Korea went, nah, mate.
No.
Straight to court, straight to gulag.
He's like, that's an important statue. You're a dick, and you're going into like you're going to. Oh, that's the best.
UK, take note. When someone disrespects your culture, that's the way you do it.
That's the way.
I'm really risking a knock at the door now. Sorry.
Don't worry, it hasn't aired yet.
Oh yeah, this is right. All right. Speaking of all things gloriously South Korean, I did watch a movie on Netflix.
Oh, I watched a fair
recently.
few things too.
It was called Uprising. It was it's a movie, and it's a movie about sort of, I guess, one of my favorite periods of South Korean history, and also I think it's the birthplace of where the Koreans went, oh wait a minute, the government sucks. Because it's about like the image and it's about the Japanese invasion of South Korea, and it touches on it briefly, but then it's about like a noble and a slave who then they become friends. They train each other in swordsmanship, and they sort of end up on like not opposite sides of the war. You'd think that because they're both Korea, they'd be on the same sides of the war, but actually they're not, because one was fighting for what they call the enlightened armies of the time, where basically the South Korean government and the South Korean army was so corrupt and it was so bad. The reason why they defeated Japan was simply because citizens formed these things called enlightened armies, where they basically gathered together and fought back as as militia, as like guerrilla warfare fighters, that they won the war, and that's how they won. It was really awesome. But then obviously then they show it's a really good like thing where they show sort of like very much the corruption of like the Korean courts back then, and it's like going, oh, because they won the war, we should now hunt all the war heroes down and kill them because it made us look bad. And that was the logic that they were taking. And I was like going, and I was watching and going, they're not even playing up any of the corruption from history, like at all. Like they're not even like, it's not like, oh, let's make them look bad. I was going, if anything, I think they were toning it down a little bit, because if they put some of the things in there that actually happened, it would be like, that's unbelievable. But no, that it's like going, and of course it's a Korean movie, so is the enemy Japanese? Yes, obviously. I think that's a no-brainer. But in their defense, they weren't mustache twirling evil like other like they were the enemy. They were stronger enemy. There was somewhat respect amongst enemy soldiers in that one, but it could have easily fallen into like they're the Japanese invaders. Like no, they didn't. They went the high road. It was good.
Midway did the same thing, didn't they?
Yeah. They didn't make the Japanese look thing. Yeah. But then obviously whilst you watch then like Indian films and Chinese films where the British are literally like
they lean in hard. Yeah.
Oh, look,
I like the sound of that so much. I've actually just looked it up on my Samsung phone on Netflix.
Oh, yes.
And I've added that to my watch list. I'll try and get that done.
It's a great film. Look, there is an English dub if you are lazy.
No.
But
I've learned my lesson.
You do miss a lot of the context with it on the Korean. Like, there's a lot of context that's important. Anyway, great film. And yeah, look, and a lot of the bad reviews you see online are somewhat from, I'm not going to say Japanese like collaborators, but
yeah.
What about you, Jamie?
I went down an indie film rabbit hole. It was hilarious. So I don't know. There's some of them I really liked, and some of them were like just bad. But I don't know if the ones I liked were good because the one previous to it was like like when we watched all these B grade horror movies, Chris.
And then we watched Thor.
And then we watched Thor, and
we thought it was the greatest movie of all time.
Thor's a good movie. And it has so many great moments, but it's no Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But
we watched a movie called Dragon Fighter before that one with Dean Cain.
Yes.
With plastic shotguns, and
it still had the red cap on the
Yeah, and it was honestly like I think that's why we thought that
Yeah, yeah,
Thor was the greatest
yeah,
movie. What else were you
yeah,
watching?
yeah. No, so okay, I'll do it in order. I watched a show called Badlands, a movie called Badlands. It's on Prime. It's about a western. It's like a western, and he's like this kind of like this mercenary kind of guy, basically going around hunting down the Confederates, and going to, like carry out the plans, with, you know, are you going to come quietly? Basically, I'm going to hang you and all that stuff. And it was just like an old school classic, little bit of romance, cool shootouts, but it was, you could tell it was indie, and no one really famous in it, but it was really, really good watch. Then I watched, what was the movie? It was called Apocalypse Earth, and it was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. Um, Basically, aliens have attacked Earth.
Yep.
There's kind of like an arc thing where let's go off. We're gonna go into cryo and go and fly off and start on a new planet, kind of thing. But then then they wake up and then they crash land on this planet, and you know what planet it is. They think it's an alien planet, but it's not an alien planet. And then they go, okay, we're going to restart on Earth. But like, it had the typical cliche. It had the hot alien chick who had like natural camouflage, tattoo covering. But when she jumped in the water, it kind of half smudged and came off. And
Okay,
like,
Jamie, you're making
yeah.
this movie sound good.
Well, I don't know. You may enjoy it. You may enjoy it.
So
Like,
what was the title? What was the thing?
Apocalypse Earth.
Okay.
I think it was called. Let me double check it.
That
It's on
sounds.
Prime. Yeah, Apocalypse Earth. And it's like there's one guy in it. You know how they pick an actor that's really strong,
Yep.
that's supposed to carry the film.
Yep.
Yeah, well, the main actor wasn't that great, but there was this guy who played a cyborg, and he was actually pretty good compared to the B grade. B grade. Apocalypse Earth. Have you found it, Chris?
I have.
Yes.
I have. Interesting.
It was pretty bad. Like
Bad, you say?
Yeah.
I think you're. Again, I think
Hey,
you're.
if you want to go down the B grade, B grade sci-fi.
But is it bad, or is it bad and it goes beyond bad to actually being good again?
Oh, I don't know. Well, look, I watched the whole thing, so that probably says something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Velocipasta, which was hilariously bad, but I never finished it. Then I watched one called The Driver, and it's a typical cliched zombie apocalypse one, and it's got a guy from he was a bad guy from Hawaii Five-0, Mark Dacakos or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the actor. Yeah,
I'm familiar.
Yeah, well, he plays this family guy who's working in a community of survivors, and I mean the whole thing starts with him and his partner taking someone who's broken the rules out to an empty space, and they look at him and they go, okay, like, we can put a bullet in your head, or you can take your chance with them. And he goes, oh, I'll take my chance with them, and then they shoot 3 bullets in the air, hop in the car and drive off, and then all the zombies come. And but it turned into a road film where he's taking his daughter across country to a place that's supposed to be a safe haven. And it was just a really cool daddy-daughter road trip with zombies, and it got 3 stars on IMDb. But again, it was the movie I watched after Apocalypse Earth, so I don't know if it was horrible or that. Then I went down a rabbit hole and I watched for the first time a classic 80s movie called War Games with Matthew Broderick.
Oh,
Have you seen that?
yes.
Classic.
Would you like to play a game?
Yes, and it was fun. Like, I loved it. And I was like, to the point where he's so young, I'm going, is that Matthew Broderick? Is that really Matthew Broderick?
It's I'm going to connect to this computer, take the receiver from the landline and pop it on top of the modem so it can hear the signal. The good old days.
Yeah, it was good fun. Chris has just gone MIA. He's doing a dunny run. We'll announce to the world. What else did I watch? Have you seen 17 again?
Don't know that.
With Matthew Perry and
No.
Zac Efron.
Okay.
So basically, Matthew Perry is 40-year-old guy, and he gets basically something happens, and he turns back into a 17-year-old boy, and then he goes back to high school, and he's hanging out with his kids at school, and it was funny. It was really, really funny. It was just like one of those cliche comedies where he's goes back to high school. He's really good at basketball.
Thinks he's going to rule the roost, but culture's completely different.
Oh, more so like he really cares about his. Well, yeah, there's that. He goes back and he's like dressing like he did in the the 80s or whatever. Like that backwards cap or sidewards cap, and then like people are going, "What are you?" And his best mate's really, really rich. He poses as his father, so he rocks up to school in a fancy car and all that. And then it's just him interacting with his kids, and he's just like there's a funny scene where they're learning, sex ed. and he's 17-year-old kid going like, no one should ever, you should wait until you find someone, and doing this speech, and one guy's like, taking 30 condoms. I'll have these, it's just, it was fun. Good fun film. Chris is back. Chris is back.
It was an epic battle.
It was an epic battle. Cool.
I came out the victor.
Before we dive into the next Cavill, appreciating Cavill, what have you been up to, Neil? What have you been watching? What have you been playing? What have you been doing?
The last week or so, I have been mostly enjoying coverage of the US elections, which I will say no more on because
you're just staying up to date.
Some people are very happy. Some people are not so happy. But I have been following that because that's my. I'm not into sports.
Yeah.
But that is my team sport. It's good because it distracts me from my own situation.
Yeah.
Besides that, I've been continuing to watch 911 on Disney Plus, which I am now on the second season of and really enjoying. I know there's a spin-off. I think it's set in Texas. I haven't got around to that yet. But 911, still enjoying it. And I haven't watched it yet, but a documentary just dropped on the Half-Life franchise of games. And they've actually got people talking about Half-Life 3 or Half-Life 2 Episode 3 that never got made. But there was, I've seen clips on X of test demo gameplay of what it would have been like. So I'm hopefully going to get to watch that maybe tomorrow. Other than that, it's just been a continuing deluge of Bluey.
Good old Bluey.
Just Bluey. Just more Bluey.
That's
Please
hell.
stop. Please stop. Yeah, that's about it. I've not had any time to play any games recently. It has just been podcasts of people talking politics, and now just I'm a big fan of the Half-Life series. I somewhere upstairs in my attic I have the original Half-Life in the full PC size box from 1998, I think. My daughter and I actually started a playthrough of Half-Life redone in the Source engine. So we were enjoying that for a while, and I love that series. And the reasoning, I believe, for never finishing the story was something I'd already suspected, which was when Half-Life 2 was made, it was done using their, at the time, brand new Source engine. Because the Source engine had, at the time, had some very groundbreaking features, and they wanted to showcase it using Half-Life. And then they said, oh, well, there's nothing we can do 2 episode 3, but it's not going to be pushing the boundaries of technology. Therefore, we're not going to do it.
Ah.
Now, I've not watched the documentary yet to find out more than that. My initial response was, but we want the end of the story, push the story forwards. But then there's something I've always suspected is we will get Half-Life 3. We'll get the conclusion when Valve decide to develop a new engine.
But why would they do that? They get money now for doing nothing. Why would they? Why would they risk it? Because at the moment, I'll be honest, it is a zero-sum game for them. They cannot, like, there's no one that is going to be happy with that game. There's no point for them because they know if they make it and like, let's say it's the best game in the universe. There'll still be people saying like, "Ma, that's not what the ending I was hoping for." There's just no benefit for them to make that game. Like, literally none.
That's I sadly I do agree with you on that. It's been so long. I mean, I want it. I want it, and I want it to be good. And the fact that they were going to tie it in with Portal 2, because it was where they were going was going to be an Aperture Science facility. So there's plenty of opportunity for crossover. And no, you are right. Whatever they do now, it's never going to live up to expectation. Never. And that makes me sad because the way they ended the story on a cliffhanger for part 3 that never happened. Yeah, that sucks. But if their heart as a development team, if their heart was not in it to
best not to
make a conclusion, then I would rather they didn't, rather than decide to cash in and make something entirely substandard. Terminator Dark Fate.
Yeah.
Dragon Age Veilguard.
Oh, but that's doing really well.
Everyone
totally loves that game. Yeah.
Everyone loves that game, and no one sees the irony in that storytelling whatsoever, where the non-binary character refuses to call the character by the name that the character wishes to be called by, and like insists upon that. No, this is your title. This is your name. You would have to stick by. Anyway, no one sees the irony. It's all good. No, there's no irony there whatsoever.
No.
You ready for Cavill?
I'm almost ready for Cavill.
Because this is a fan-made film of an upcoming project. I'll get your thoughts on it because I thought it was very well made.
For so long, our rule has kept peace over the Ultramar sector. A new dawn has presented peace may now be a scarcity.
If I'm to do this, I'll need my own team.
To protect the Imperium, we will need brutal men.
You won't like them. They're all mad.
There's something dangerous happening out there. And by the time it becomes big enough for you to act, it'll be too late.
These foreign creatures come from unknown regions of the cosmos. They will take what we have built. They want Macragga. They want to take the Imperium of Man.
Who is willing to fight for true freedom?
It's not like it was before. It's grown. This is war.
There you go.
That was actually not terribly done in terms of it. That's a fairly good compilation of things.
Yeah.
Sadly, that's never going to happen, but you know.
Probably won't, no.
I'm resisting the urge to nerd out on which
Certain
tyrannic war the Battle for Macragge was versus the current Fourth Tyrannic War, because I'm a massive Warhammer nerd.
Yep.
But has Henry Cavill not been as linked to other projects recently?
Yep, he's got
don't remember what it is.
Voltron and Highlander are his next two things, I think, that are in the works. But I don't know what's happening with Warhammer. I have an inkling that there's probably tensions.
It's November now. It's well into November. I believe they have till the beginning of December. They have a fortnight to finalize the contracts, or else it's done.
It's done.
Given the rumors that, I mean, this is all 4chan and Reddit stuff, but I believe, given that Amazon have made certain demands and Henry Cavill would absolutely not go for it.
Yeah.
It's not happening, guys.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it's a case of we'll never have it versus you can have it, but they're going to Lucasfilm it, I'll dream.
Yeah,
I mean, literally earlier this evening, I saw the news that the Ray movie was cancelled
again.
I've not watched the video for the details, but they've done the usual. We've announced a load of stuff because it was investor call time, and they have to think we're doing something.
Yeah.
And then once the investor call's gone, they've all gone, actually, none of that's actually happening.
Yeah.
And I'd rather it never happened.
Yeah.
There was something coming out yesterday. They were saying, "Oh, there's totally going to be a trilogy of movies made by the guy who made the Dark Phoenix film, and it's going to be people going like, why would you get someone terrible to continue his terrible legacy?" And I was like, it's just one of those. I think honestly, that kind of rumor probably comes from the guy himself he's trying to like hype it up so he can get the job. Like it's like, oh my god, like it's dead. Stop kicking it. It's dead.
I mean, this is Hollywood. People fail upwards at an almost vertical incline. You know that I'm the man that did X-Men Dark Phoenix, that movie that was absolutely terrible, and they stopped making them after I did that. Watch my next thing.
Yeah.
No, thanks, mate. No.
Yep, failing upwards.
Like Ryan L. Johnson.
Well, he's just failed now. This is great. I'm happy.
Oh no,
I've never been more happy.
He's got that Knives Out movie or whatever, and there's a third one coming, so people are watching it, and it's a predictable Cluedo movie, you know.
Yeah, that's what he should stick to that.
But he's got the like the M. Night magic where he can get big actors to come and do his films, you know.
It's called blackmail, Jamie. It's called blackmail.
Blackmail. Yes.
Although as the Russians call it, compromat. If you have enough compromat on someone, you get them to do anything.
Well, the Diddy tapes are yet to come out.
The Diddy tapes are yet to come out.
That's a lot of lube.
It's a lot of lube. That's going to be awesome. Where that'll like look, I don't think it's ever going to come out, but if it did, it'd be just funny. Like I want to see all the PR teams like get ahead of it, all like going, well, you know, yes, you'll see some footage, but it's not as bad as you think. There's context to the footage. Like I'm trying to see all the.
Or will it come out and then they'll make some bigger news event to distract you from it, like they always do.
Well, you know, that's the goal, obviously. They're going, aliens, look.
They've just done that. They've just had a big press conference confirming aliens.
Yeah.
And then we said, oh, this spacecraft crashed into a thing, and that's why those people died. Did the inhabitants survive? We're not allowed to talk about that. But again, and the world just shrugs because
the jib is up.
I was a big fan of the X-Files back in the 90s.
Yep.
And there was a whole period when the X-Files was the hottest thing on TV, and everyone was into UFOs and using UFO spotting as an excuse to sit in a field on a deck chair drinking beer all night. Not that I was old enough to do that. And you'd think that a world superpower admitting, yes, UFOs are real, God only knows what they can do and who they are, people will be losing their minds, and people just going, whatever.
Mhm.
The jaded people we've become.
Well, because we know that, like, if it was interesting, they wouldn't tell us. Like, if you know, like if in the basement of the White House there is like an alien commander who's like strapped to like a table going, "When my people find out, they will come for you." Like if that guy, like if that was there, we would like. They're not going to tell us anything. It's probably like a gerbil that was in space, sent out by spacefaring people that crashed into it, and they go, "Oh, intelligent life," and then the spacefaring people are like going, "Oh, what happened to those gerbils we sent into space?" Not sure. Okay, like it's like all the monkeys we send up. Eventually, someone will find one of those monkeys and be like, "Oh, this is humans. Oh, interesting, interesting."
That'd make a great movie. Like, you know, all the monkeys returning, like they've assembled and evolved or whatever. And
Isn't that just
come
Planet
back.
of the Apes at that point?
No, but Planet of the Apes was Planet of the Apes on, you know, like these are invading monkeys. Would you want imagine Planet of the Apes, but they're all in like, you know, admiral uniforms and
That would be yeah, yes. No, I want that. You
or
would absolutely want that.
or Star Trek uniforms. You know, like they've watched Star Trek reruns up there and get their ideas from, you know, the monkey scientists. If we do this, then
Go forth, AI image generator. Do your
Go
thing.
forth.
Chris,
Go
are
forth.
you doing it now?
Oh,
Do
you
it.
know what? You know I'm going to create a monkey that did it. Yeah.
Do it.
But you know what? You know what I really want, which is just never going to happen because like there's no like
Tell
it's
me what you want.
It's a niche market.
What
I
you
want
really,
more.
really
I
want.
want more military sci-fi TV shows and movies where it's like good military sci-fi.
Yeah.
But like people have no. But it's not going to happen. Like there's
No.
a million bazillion books that could be taken that are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But they just don't take them because we're dumb and stupid. Like that,
Yeah.
that's just because we don't want to do cool things and we don't want to
Yeah.
like have fun in our movies.
Yeah.
One season of Space Above and Beyond does exist. This is what
Really?
you seek.
Hmm.
Have you seen this before?
No.
It was made by it was made by Chris Carter's production company, I think, from the X-Files. And the show was created by two of the regular writers and directors, I think. And it ran for one season. In the UK at least, it was getting used as a scheduled filler on BBC Two. So I remember channel hopping one evening and suddenly finding, oh, that show I'm watching is on now, despite this not being the day that it's aired. Because they just, a sports match had finished early, so they just, oh, we've got 45 minutes, just throw that on.
No.
They did a bit of a firefly on it. And if you've not seen it, it's fun. It's Marines in space.
Okay.
Literally, naval aviators who also have stuff where they go on the ground and run around fighting aliens that invaded. They attacked an Earth colony. Our first contact with alien life was a colony being wiped out, and it follows a group of these marine, I think they were marine aviators who fly around in starfighters, and I'm trying to think who. No, it was really, really fun, and it only made one season. If you can find it somewhere on a stream, I'd recommend it. It's good fun. There's some guest appearances from now fairly well-known actors that you'll spot.
Really?
And
Okay.
yeah. It felt a bit like the Star Wars X-Wing series should have gone, where you have fighter jocks who also go on missions on the ground.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds interesting. Because like, we're never going to get good space movies because one, expense, two, not enough existing franchises.
Yeah.
But having said that, like, I thought Hollywood was stealing from books and just going to that book well. of ideas, but no, apparently.
No, well, they don't.
I
They're
will
all about
never,
remakes.
ever hear the excuse that they won't make something because it's too expensive. When Lucasfilm spent
sure.
over $230 million on their last series.
Okay, sure.
The money is there. The willpower is lacking.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is like Stargate. Stargate was and is fantastic and was endorsed by the US Air Force.
Yep.
Yep.
For its depiction of their military.
Yep.
Yeah, didn't they give MacGyver an award?
Yes, they gave him like an actual, like honorary, like colonel insignia badge, like because he was a colonel.
A fantastic series that went for 10 primary seasons, 2 spin-off films, a 5-season spin-off series, and 2 seasons of another series. And going back to 2 weeks ago, was cut short because that universe was a well that was incredibly deep. And I have recently read what they planned to do beyond that.
Oh, really?
And it makes me very sad that we will never see it.
Look at that.
Oh,
Chris, that is perfection.
Oh, he's so cute.
But he's going to come and
look at his little face, his little chops.
like 95% of Australian wildlife, he is coming to kill you.
look at his like fancy uniform and his fancy hat.
Like, and then this is when he knifes you, Chris, because you're like, oh, look at his little.
I'm crafting something now that's better, and you'll all enjoy. I can see this movie happening now.
Awesome.
The more I think about this movie, honestly I don't know about what the plot is going to be, but it doesn't matter. It's just like
you figure out that later.
You figure out that later.
Like Frozen.
The Disney approach.
Yeah, like Frozen. Let's write a catchy song and now make a movie around it instead of the other way around, you know?
Well, that was funny where it's like going, oh my God, this song is so cool. Let's change our entire movie plot because...
Yes, it's just, you are so dumb, you know, just...
All right, Jimmy, bask at this image. And you tell me you wouldn't see... If this is the first image you saw of like a movie they were shooting, don't tell me you wouldn't see this film.
Oh my God. Okay, hang on. Bringing it into the screen share.
Behold! Perfection incarnate.
Cavill and Caesar. All right, Chris, what are you naming the gorilla?
I don't know, but this scene happens much later. This is another image I'm putting that happens much later on, and the scene is it's a scene you've seen all the time. Where he's the commander of the warship, but he was a former fighter pilot. The aliens are invading. He's obviously got his monkey left-handed by his side, his gorilla. And then and when things get tough, you see he ditches his captain outfits and puts on the wing commander uniform. And they go, "What are you doing, Captain? We need you on the bridge." And he was like, "No, I'm a combat pilot. I was born in the sky." And he gets into the plane.
There you go.
I mean, if that's not the next Top Gun film, I don't know what is. Like, it's
that was Independence Day, wasn't it?
Basically,
I'm a combat pilot.
Yeah, exactly.
I belong in the air.
Yeah,
that was a great film. Still one of my favorite films.
It was a great film with no sequel.
Yeah, exactly. A sequel full of Chinese product placement. Anyway, what?
And no, that was Ninja Turtles too. Michael Bay.
Well, the random Chinese girl that was in every scene that just stood there. That I was like, who the fuck is that?
Can we just follow you around for the day? Yeah, sure.
And then apparently people say like, no, she's like really famous in China. I'm like going, cool, I guess.
The mandatory placement from Tencent's list of requirements a movie must meet in order to receive financing from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, let's play a game.
Would you like to play a game?
Pick a movie, keep one actor, the rest are played by Muppets.
John Wick.
Keanu Reeves is the actor?
Yep.
No,
everyone else is Muppets.
The dog is the actor because then we get an entire movie of Muppets gunning each other down.
Yes.
I remember. Do you remember the episode in the 5th season of Angel, where Spike and Angel are turned into Muppets.
Oh, that was the best episode. That was so good.
Yes. We need that, but with guns.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh my God, I forgot about the Muppet episode, and like, oh my God, that was so good. That was so awesome.
All the sitcoms do it now, you know. Especially Community, they did a whole one.
It would have to be an actor you completely couldn't see working with a load of Muppets. Okay, I've got one. Rambo Last Blood. I want to see Sylvester Stallone in a network of tunnels murking the living crap out of Muppets.
Now, Neil, this is key. I'm assuming that. Do you want the blood, or do you want just like the fluff being flying out from the Muppets when you kill them?
Oh, I want red fuzzy felt.
Okay.
I want it to go in plumes, like
the
old Japanese samurai movies where someone gets their arm cut off and it's just spraying everywhere. You know, like a clown pulling a string of handkerchiefs out of his sleeve. Yep. Especially when Sylvester Stallone cuts that last guy's heart out of his chest and shows it to him. But it's a Muppet heart. It's fuzzy felt, but it's still beating.
Like, the fact that movie doesn't exist makes me mad. Like, I can't see anything wrong in that movie.
Now, if I was gonna go down the violent streak, then I'd probably do Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. You know, so
no, Jamie. I think you've got to no. Sorry, I have one more.
Okay, you got one more. Yeah.
Inspiration is struck.
You've got male. Meg Ryan's the human. Tom Hanks is the puppet.
Oh, everyone else would be the puppet, but yeah. See, because I was going to lean into a more dramatic one too. I was thinking Green Mile. It's Michael Clark Duncan, and he's, you know.
Ooh.
The late Michael Clark Duncan being imprisoned and executed by Muppets.
By Muppets, yeah. And you'd have that heartfelt. And then the prisoner that has the mouse, he would have a Muppet mouse. Which I think would be even more sadder, you know, just saying.
I'm just trying to imagine Kermit saying,
I didn't know the sponge was supposed to be wet.
And the Muppet's head would just like, get all fuzzy and like
set on fire.
Yeah.
But play dead serious, you know. I want to, you know.
With that in mind, Shawshank Redemption, but Morgan Freeman's the human.
Like, okay. So the Muppet escapes.
Yep, the Muppet escapes and glides through the syringe. Come on, Jamie, pick one. I picked several now.
You picked several. Yeah, I'm trying to think. You know,
I'd like to invert it and say I would like a remake of Alien, where the cast remain, but the alien is a Muppet.
Yes.
Yes.
And then a follow-up with Aliens, where there's just like lots of Muppets.
Yeah.
Actually, no, but at the moment, that's just aliens because they were Muppets. Like they were basically puppets. So like,
technically,
I think this one would work way too well, and they should just do it anyway. Deadpool and Muppets, kind of. I think that fits perfectly.
Okay, no. Here's how for that one to work, you have to change the rules a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Wade Wilson's a human.
Yeah.
Until he becomes Deadpool, and then he becomes a Muppet.
Oh, perfection.
Yes.
Yes. And then after he goes through all that like experimenty things, then like he crawls out of the fire a Muppet.
Yeah.
And then that's why he thinks that Vanessa doesn't want to be with him anymore because he's a Muppet. Like that's.
Oh, that's too good. But you can do it with anything. I mean, Hugh Jackman in Les Miserables, you know, him singing with Muppets. It just sounds, you know, that'd work.
Again, that's you and Hugh Jackman, man.
I like Hugh Jackman. Or would you rather do that movie that you love so much, The Prestige?
Ugh. Ugh. Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
No. Bad Jamie.
I got it. Godzilla -1. But Godzilla's the Muppet.
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins. But that'd work too well, you know?
Predator. Imagine a predator killing a bunch of militaristic Muppets. Then imagine 1980 Schwarzenegger, Jesse Ventura, Carl Weathers all being killed by a Muppet.
That would be awesome.
It works either way.
On that same vein, Rocky, but he's the Muppet.
Wow.
Who's fighting humans in a boxing match. What? My final one.
Okay, final one.
Final one. Avatar. Jake, but then obviously all the avatars are Muppets, so he transfers himself into the body of a Muppet. with the avatar.
Again, that would work too well.
I don't know why, for some reason, Reservoir Dogs has come into my head, and I don't know who I'd keep as the one actor. The cop. I'd keep the cop that they have tied to the chair and they cut his ear off as the one actor. The Reservoir Dogs themselves would all be Muppets.
Excellent. I'm going to do a final one, Jaws, but Jaws is a shark and everyone else is Muppets.
So what, George is a real shark this time? Like an actual...
Real, yeah.
They actually got a shark this time?
Real shark. Real shark.
Real shark. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it's a spur of the moment game. Well, there you go. I think we're done. Unless Chris has more AI.
I put my standard suite of images in the chat now of Henry Cavill and Cat Graham.
Yeah. Wishing it would one day be maybe in another multiverse.
In another life.
Seeing as Henry Cavill is expecting his first. Would you settle for him naming, if he has a daughter, her Cat Graham?
Yes, that'll be sufficient.
Sufficient, yes. In one way, shape, and form, they will be
together,
connected. Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, guys, thanks for listening. You know the deal. thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com if you want to reach out. Check us out on Instagram, YouTube, all that. Make sure you buy our sponsors' books. Rebecca Cassells, Martin Kearns. Buy my stuff if you want. Remember, I give away free copies to people that want to review it. And yeah.
And write a decent review. And and when you write a review, you must use very specific keywords and phrases like return to form. You must use the word return to form, and so that when everyone pulls up all the reviews, it's not obvious that you gave them notes in terms of what to write in your review.
Okay, all right.
Jamie doesn't get that. Neil does.
No. Went over my head.
Neil got that one.
Just like that, yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Catch you next time.
This podcast is brought to you by Martin Kearns and the Valor of Valhalla series. In the battle between two ancient evils, can one naive young man become the last hope against powerful creatures of legend? Beneath the Veil is the gripping first book in the Valor of Valhalla dark urban fantasy series. If you like reluctant heroes, infernal myths, and bloody epic clashes, then you'll love Martin Kearns' formidable foray into the unknown. So head on over to readkearns.com and grab yourself a copy of Beneath the Veil today.